All right, then we're ready to begin the open meeting. This meeting of the Board of Directors of Housing Opportunities Community Partners. We have present all of our members except for one, Mo Smith, who was unavailable because of a family emergency. And we have a brief book that was presented to us earlier this week. So we have some information to go through. I think the first thing actually that we should be considering, yes, is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. And before we do that, I just want to welcome everybody to this because this is the first time we're doing it through this system, and hopefully we'll work our way through it without too much difficulty. And if you have questions or concerns about how it works, we have staff here who can help us to put us through it. So the minutes, I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments. If not, I will ask for motion to approve them.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
And second.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the approving the minutes of the February 2nd meeting, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right. They're approved. All right. So we'll move on to the reports, which is the financial statements that look fairly healthy. Christina, I don't know if there's someone who needs or who would take us through this, or if any of the members of the board have any questions or comments. Teresa or Varun may have some thoughts too, so I'll let them interject if they have to. And Christina, if there's somebody who's presenting it, that's fine.
Sure. Actually, it's me tonight, Christina Otten, right. Senior Staff Liaison. So if folks do have questions, I will do my very best to provide an answer. Just a brief overview. Obviously, in the packet you have before you, statement of the financial position, statement of activities, and ledger balances as of the close of Q3 of fiscal year 21. Looking at Q3, one of the largest expenditures from Q3 was the funding of a small business strategy course that you all had approved previously. That is, I believe, coming to a close, although they may be starting that up again in July for another cohort of folks under that program. We actually expect at this time that Academy, HOC Academy, and others in resident services are really going to start completing their proposals for funding youth summer programs and other types of programming that's really going to be picking up over the summer. We didn't see as much programming in Q3, obviously, because of COVID, and noting that there was quite a bit of screen fatigue, Zoom fatigue for folks. And so they're looking to kick off a lot more programming. And so we should see more requests for funding programs coming in the following quarter. If you look overall at the available discretionary funds in the general fund, those total out $176,348 at this time. And so if you have any questions for me at this time, I'll do my best to provide an answer.
Go ahead. If any of the board members have questions, go ahead. Okay.
I think this looks good. Thank you. Fairly straightforward.
Yeah, it's good. I sort of echo what you just said, Christina. I'm hoping now that maybe we're over the hump on the virus, that some of these funds can start to go out to assist in activities that we've really wanted to do under the strategic plan. We built up a nice sum that could help a lot of different people and contribute to a lot of programs that would help HOC participants. So hopefully in the near future, we'll start to see some more activity in that way. So we're looking forward to it. But I don't think there's no motion here, but I don't believe if there's anybody that has a question or a further comment, we'll consider it. So, but all right, hearing none on this, we'll, I guess, go to the one item that we have to consider or approve for deliberation, and that's the approval of this application for funding some scholarships for the Bernie Scholar Program. I don't know who's presenting this. Is it you again, Christina, or
Also me. Hi.
someone else? All right, go ahead.
Actually, let me just interject real quick, and board members, just indulge me for a second.
Yep.
So when we are partnering, we HOC are partnering with you all for gala and other fundraisers. I want you to know that it's never our intent to program or earmark where the funding goes. Just that's not what we do. It's we partner with you all in earnest because meeting our customers where they are, helping folks deal with, navigate life's challenges is part and parcel what we do as housers on the HOC side. And so I have to tell you, I think that this Bernie scholarship thing makes a lot of sense. But my guess is as you all and these efforts become more widely viewed and understood, you're going to encounter a significant increase in would-be grantees. So you're going to get a ton of applications. And my advice, I mean, I can't tell you how to do it or what to do, but certainly can lend some staff to it, is that you've got to go to funding rounds and allotting, what funds go to which round and what your funding pillars are. Because if not, then it's just going to be a run on the resources. And, you've got a couple different efforts. One is to raise the corpus and grow it, right? And then obviously 2 is to spend it, right? And those are indelibly linked, but without real pillars and priorities, annually or whatever period you'd like, you're sort of subject to whichever way the wind is blowing that week. And I would be remiss if I didn't offer just that observation. But, I also want to say that we're incredibly proud and privileged to work with you all and learn from you. So with that, I'll just shut up and let Christina do her thing.
Okay. Go ahead, Christina. Yeah.
Thanks, Stacy. Folks, you have before you a request to fund some scholarships from the Bernie Scholarship Awards program for students who are pursuing STEM programs in 2021. So actually, to Stacy's point, this scholarship in particular, as it seeks to fund some STEM scholarships for HOC students, falls pretty squarely within the priorities that you all have determined in the strategic plan. While we have been partnering with the Bernie Scholarship Awards program for a long time, I think these scholarships in particular align very squarely with what it is that you all are looking to fund. For the calendar 2021 cycle of scholarship awards, the Bernie Scholarship Program has requested from HOCP a grant of $4,500 in total, which would then be designated for 3 $1,500 scholarships apiece to be awarded to students in HOC households who are pursuing education in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so this is actually the first time that the Bernie Scholarship Program has asked for very specific scholarship funding for STEM programming for these folks.
Yeah.
And with that, if you have any questions.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Donna.
Okay, thanks. I just had a question, which is for those HOC students who are part of the scholarship plan, either in the past or at this point, does HOC provide other services to ensure the success of those students? I mean, this is a small grant. There obviously is other support that's needed, and how has that worked out, and how have you seen that happen over the years? And how do you see for these grants, what other support may be provided?
Well, if you if you would consider, all the other STEM programming that, say, HOCP either helps fund or STEM programming that HOC helps put on for youth, either from a very young age up through high school. We have a number of students who participate in either our summer STEM programs, STEM camps. We also send students, have sent students annually to a STEM camp at West Point. And so there are a number of initiatives that not only HOCP funds, but programs that Resident Services at HOC puts on to help HOC students who are interested in STEM programming be able to explore those things outside of the classroom.
These from, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, but these are college students, right? And so I'm saying, what has been the success of these students in their college programs? Are any of them also getting loans? Do you all follow any of that for?
For Bernie, we don't. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I'm saying about how we actually, the broader we, HOC and HOCP, require from partners, grantees, and others some level of data so that we can actually get those answers. Now, anecdotally, Member Boxer, I can tell you that we've had a pretty good impact. There's one young man who is a scholarship recipient who is a customer. His family still lives there. He finished Johns Hopkins, going to medical school right now, and will wind up being a surgeon. Be clear though, that's a 1 in a million, right? But I think your broader question, and we ought to be asking that ourselves fervently, is are we seeing increases in education and consequent increases in income and wealth creation, and then sort of broader connection, and are we seeing folks who are able to break this sort of cycle of what we see around the country of intergenerational poverty? And again, anecdotally, there are some instances where we're seeing some success, but there are clearly others where there's not the same success.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask or just make a comment here about, Donna, I certainly support your inquiry here, and Stacy, what you're saying around, potentially encouraging us to think a little bit more about parameters around, providing the scholarship and what information we may want to see kind of in return. I just want to make sure that it doesn't become administratively burdensome, right? Like, so there's, these are pretty small scholarships. So, I think we'd want to be careful kind of understanding, like, okay, here are the kind of, are they still in school? How, maybe some basic sort of questions that we can ask, and that would not be too difficult to get the answers for. I think we just have to think about sort of the scholarship amount commensurate with the sort of information that we are seeking to get, and just sort of think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that the Bernie
with
scholarships, I think the Bernie
Go ahead,
scholarships do track those things for those particular scholarships. One of my concerns is that we have two different scholarships of our own and the Bernie scholarships, and it's kind of, I would imagine it can be confusing for our residents to figure out what they need to do for which one, and are the requirements the same for all of them, or do they have
Well, this
different
one's STEM
requirements?
focused, right?
Excuse me? It's
Sally,
STEM.
this one's STEM focused, right? This particular
Yes.
one. Yeah.
It's
so
not-
others.
It isn't necessarily. It is, the money that we're giving goes to STEM part of it, but Bernie scholarships, I don't know, they give, I can't remember the numbers, but like 20 or 30 scholarships out of other fundraising sources. And I don't think that there's STEM requirements on all of them.
They're not.
Yeah, I'm a donor to that one too. I'm just concerned about how much administrative work is involved for our residents and how clear it is which scholarships cover and what they don't. I mean, some cover books, I think, and some don't. And there are all kinds of expenses. And I just wonder if using funding three different scholarships isn't making life more confusing than maybe it ought to be. I don't know. I would like to know more about what our scholarships cover, the HOC ones, and also I don't remember all the details of the Bernie scholarships, and I'm sure we could get that.
We can certainly get that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I don't
think,
know, maybe no one else thinks it's a useful thing, but
well, I think they do piece together a lot of different scholarships and loans because the amounts are so big and not everybody can afford to, throw $25,000 and make sure that that person qualifies as well at one of these programs, but at one of these applications. But I think the experience is that they will find ways to put together 3 or 4 different types of scholarships or loans that are necessary to get them through that year. Some might be for books, some might be for an apartment, whatever it is. And if they have the grit and the desire to put it together, they'll make it happen. People who are making these gifts sometimes have their own desires to make sure that the funds are used for a certain purpose. That may be the way that they got the funds in order to make the contributions. But I think in this case, if we don't necessarily have to condition it, but we would like to ask for, reports on the progress of whoever the scholarship is going to for the next couple of years, so we can find out if our money's being used efficiently, and if they start to ask us for more money, where it becomes actually a major contribution, we'd certainly want to have more information about who's getting the funds, how they're using them, and what the success rates are. So, but for this small sort of grant to potentially get it going, or we may never hear from Bernie scholarships again, I don't think we need to ask for too much other than some sort of report for the next year or two on how these 3, I think it is, individuals are doing. So.
Yeah, I think, Ken, you're getting at some of what my questions are. And again, this is very small and we can go ahead with it. But some of what you were saying, I mean, we all know there's a huge issue with students who are given, with limited resources, who are given very small grants, take out loans. It's crucial to finish the program you're in. And if I guess I feel like when it's an HOC program, that HOC has a whole group, has a whole support network to help people with whatever issues that may arise, because it's a whole national issue of people with loans who, because of various circumstances or whatever, did not have the support so they have the loans, but they have no educational attainment to help them pay it off. And so I'm not saying we need to resolve that issue. That's just, for me, even though it's the Bernie Fund, and I understand they've done very good work over the years, and there are good people involved and so forth, to me, because it's not HOC itself, it raises the issue of whether students are being successful or finding themselves in a terrible dilemma.
Yeah, and I agree. If we start doling out significant amounts, we'd want to make sure that we're getting success for the money we're giving out, and that the people who are getting the funds are really able to use them and succeed in getting the degree and moving forward with their lives. So
I would like to point out that Montgomery College, which is where a lot of the scholarship people at least start out, and is actually pretty affordable. So $1,500 is a significant help for that kind of beginning education. It's certainly wouldn't put them in Johns Hopkins, but it's a good start for Montgomery College.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, does anyone else have any comments or questions about this? And we'll keep sort of in the back burner the idea that as we get bigger requests or more requests, that we'll have to act at least similarly to the way that Stacy has mentioned, to decide who gets what and how we monitor it. I think we're, this one is admittedly a little early for that. So, good. All right. Does the resolution ask for any continued update or information on the status of the success rates and the progress of the students?
It does not.
Okay, we probably, unless the board, doesn't feel it's necessary, maybe we should add that as a additional condition to granting the funding. You people, board members, tell me if you think that's valuable or is needed for this size of a grant.
I mean, I guess I think it's a reasonable request. We're not asking for, a huge amount of information or even frequent information, but
Right.
unless anyone has an objection to it.
Yeah, I just want to be I don't know. I'm not opposed to asking for additional information. I want to be careful that we're not. I know we haven't officially said. We're in the process of officially saying yes to this, or no, voting on it. Yeah, I think it would be okay to say, maybe an annual, quick summary,
Progress report.
Yeah.
And not, because I don't want, to be fair and to be honest, I don't know the level of staffing for this fund and sort of what that would entail. It doesn't need to be a tremendous amount of detail. I really don't think that that's appropriate for this level of
Right.
scholarship. And, to some degree, I have to say this, like, I think it's important for us to have, I hear us talking about metrics, making sure we're getting the value for our money, et cetera. But to some degree, like, we're taking a leap of faith. Like, we're saying, like, we're investing in you. We think you have potential, and we hope and have all like sincere hope and for the recipients of this, that they move forward and go forth and do great things and graduate and all of that. And I do agree, like, as the, if we look at larger monetary scholarships, we really should think about, I remember I got a full ride to go to undergrad, and I had to maintain a 3.7 GPA to keep that scholarship. But that was a $35,000 a year scholarship. I get that. That made a lot of sense to put parameters around that. And so I just think, I think a progress report, Donna, makes a lot of sense. If we just have them say, hey, check in with us, tell us how they're doing. We want to hear, and keep it at that level for this particular level of contribution. I think if we look at, monetary contributions above this, we can talk about kind of, what does that look like? Maybe pursuant to sort of our strategic plan, Ken, like we went through a whole process where we talked through kind of pillars of what we wanted to support, and also wanted to make sure, we had a discretionary pot for things that come up that you don't think of. And,
Right.
But maybe as part of that, we can start to round out some more specificity, like per what Donna was saying, is like, if we're talking about contributions above a certain level, we collectively have a conversation about, okay, what are we going to, ask for in terms of data and information in return to really monitor what that looks like? I think that's totally fair, and that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah. Actually, I think this conversation will point the staff toward asking for that from future applicants. And that's fine, because when they bring it to us, I think they will say, in addition to giving out this money, here is what we're going to be asking for in response or as part of the approval. And actually, right now, Christina, you can confirm this, but the programs that HOC presents to us almost always have a requirement at the end to tell us, give us guidance on performance, how successful whatever that program has been. Some of them, I think, may not be necessary, because I think it's just an opportunity for kids to enjoy themselves or have an experience they wouldn't otherwise have. But some of them are more educational, and we would like to know, how kids are doing. And you Christina, you know probably better offhand which ones are which, but we've done that. So this would probably be a little bit more sophisticated, but still something we could do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think asking that question doesn't make this, I hope it doesn't make it too onerous for HOCP staff. But I think it would, so I think we would just limit to sort of understanding what are the benefits that we're driving from this program. And if future funding can be sort of, if we can, then again, as we look again, revisit our strategic, strategy over the next 6 months or a year, it'll help provide some guidance to where we can channelize more funding.
So just real quick on the staffing component, HOC staff is becoming more metric driven. We have to. There are only so many hours in the day, and we've got to figure out and measure actively how well we're engaged in our different business lines, and also what level of touch customers are actually getting from us for hours spent with us. And so I don't think it's that much of a leap to add fundamental periodic metrics for HOCP efforts with which we're involved at the front end and at the back end. Now, that said, there's something to be said for you all's role, HOCP's role as angel philanthropists. But that's a portion of what you're doing. There's some of it, if we took apart the last sort of 9 years, what you all have funded, there are some repeat grantees. We got to measure the efficacy of that. That only makes sense. Now, there are other things where, you've sort of parachuted in and saved the day. Makes sense that you'd be taking a leap of faith, as someone said, on something like that. There are others still where it's sort of one time, it's for a student related cause where you'd want to take a chance. And so the measurement around that would be decidedly different than an organization or program that has enjoyed a consistent and increasing level of support over a period of years. And I have to tell you, if that's one of our programs, one of HOC's programs, and we're not performing well and we're taking your money, come on, I can't in good conscience, tell you that that's a smart decision. I think you should be spending your money elsewhere. Yep. Right? If we are not performing, if we're not connecting with customer, if we're not, if we don't have a diversity, equity, and inclusion lens, and if we're not lifting up customers who, quite frankly, are having significant challenges, if we're just sort of taking the money and plugging it into some hole that we've got, that's just ridiculous. And I would say the same.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. So,
Sally, do you have your hand raised?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Do you have your hand raised? Did you want to make a comment?
I
Is your
did,
hand-
but I don't need to anymore, so I can put it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
All right,
Donna,
well,
you're on mute.
All right, have we talked this one through enough, or is there any more discussion or conversation? I think maybe we might want to put a modest adjustment in the resolution to say that the scholarship fund will provide us with an annual progress report on the participants who receive the funding.
Or
That's
do we
all.
want to say, Ken, do we want to say like short narrative? Is that like, because progress report's pretty broad and I
Yeah.
mean, that might
Yeah, that's okay.
short
that's fine.
narrative or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So Heather, does it have to be moved with acknowledging that amendment? So that we can get
so.
that in this meeting?
That would be
Okay.
best.
All right.
Okay, so whoever makes the motion will have to include that they
Yes.
want to amend to include that narrative on scholarship
Yeah.
winners.
Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the resolution with the amendment that I think we both just discussed, which is just a preparation of a short narrative on the progress of the persons who receive the scholarships? Does anybody want to move that?
I'll move that, make it an annual.
Yeah, annually. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All in favor of that? Or, is there a second? I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of this motion as it's been amended? Say aye. I'm in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I think, and there's anyone opposed to it? Okay, I think it's passed and adopted, and Christina, you can go forward with it, or whoever the staff person who's assigned to it can go forward, and we'll go from there. So do we have any other items other than to maybe think about when another meeting would be?
I believe
Is that
that
it,
concludes
Christina?
all of the business for
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so that is, is there anything coming up in a short term, Christina? Otherwise, we'll just wait for the time when the staff wants to set it up by sending us some emails for suggested dates.
Yeah, so
do that.
what I'll do is I'll make sure I touch base with the folks, particularly in HOC Academy, that I know may have funding requests coming up.
Okay,
And so Patrice will be the one who will be working with you all to ensure we get that next date set up at a time that works for everyone. And then what else I will suggest is Patrice work with you all to also set a few more regular meetings throughout the rest of the calendar year. Depending on what other funding requests come up in the interim, we can set up meetings accordingly that way as well. But we should probably get some calendared meetings at least over the next, say, 6 months, so that everybody sort of has a regular expectation for when we'll be meeting.
good. Yeah, that's fine. And hopefully, eventually there'll be an actual meeting where everybody is actually present. I don't know that we're there yet, but hopefully before the end of the year, that might be possible. So that would be nice for all of us to actually be in the same room. So, okay, I guess since there's no further actions to consider, I'll look for a motion to adjourn, and we'll adjourn this first open meeting of this organization. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, good. I believe we're adjourned.
Thank you,
Everybody's in
Ken.
favor of that? Yeah,
Thank you.